because I wanted to share something with you guys. I just came off the phone. I'm on my vacation, but I wanted to do this live because even though I'm here, you know, vacation for us doesn't mean that we stop working altogether, but as much as is possible. I've reduced my days, but we still have to make contact with persons. We still have to talk to them. So I was just talking to one of my clients, and a very important point was just not brought to my attention, but a very important point came up, and I wanted to talk about it. Um, most persons, I don't know if you know that, and some people don't know, but most persons who are sick, and this is something that we have to tell persons, most persons who are sick don't really want to get better. Most persons don't want to get better. And here's the thing, most persons don't even know that they don't want to get better. Most persons don't want to get better. Most persons only want to feel better. But most persons don't know the difference between getting better and feeling better. Most persons don't know. And that is one of the reasons why, if it was up to me, or if it is up to me, in most cases, most of the persons who we work with would be in a retreat format. And I'm going to talk a little bit because I'm being very sensitive, because I don't want to say too much that if persons are listening, they will think that I'm trying to use their situation, to create content and to make example. But if I talk from a position of experience. I talk from the experiences that I'm having. And so, a while ago, I just spoke to a client, and the person who I'm talking to is working with a family member, and the person has progressed significantly over the past couple of days because of a protocol that we have them on. And basically what we want to do, what I prefer to do, is to show persons how to heal themselves, because there is no such thing as an incurable, as a disease that can't be reversed. The body heals itself. And so once you know what to do, it's a technology. It works. It's not a if, it's not a maybe, it's not a must. It will work because the body heals itself. And while saying that, to every norm, there is an exception. So I'm relating to the norm. So normally, the body is supposed to heal itself. And once you do what you're supposed to do, then the body is supposed to heal itself. And so the person has been progressing. And as soon as the person starts to progress, what happens to most persons is that healing is a process. Just like our sickness is a process, healing is a process. And a part of the process of getting sick is that we usually find ourselves in a pattern, or we find ourselves in a habit, a consistent, repetitive lifestyle that result in a particular cause. And so healing is also repetitive actions, constant repetitive actions that you do to reverse what was done. And so this person now is feeling better. And it is one of with the process of healing, one of the things that we have to contend with is the habit that caused the disease in the first place. And so a lot of persons, once people start to feel better, their initial response is to go back to the habit that caused the disease in the first place. And that is the reason why, for some persons to get their healing, they need to be taken out of the environment, out of the situation, the setting that encourages a particular habit, that encourages a particular lifestyle that has created or contributed to the disease in the first place. So most persons who are diabetic live in an environment that is conducive to diabetes. Most persons who have cancer live in a setting that is conducive to cancer. Most persons who are hypertensive live in a setting. Not only do they live in a setting, they practice a series of habits, but they also live in a setting, or they are surrounded by people who practice a particular lifestyle that supports that result. And so in order for them to change, there are some persons who are disciplined enough, who, irrespective of the fact that they are in the setting that contributes or causes a particular disease, they are disciplined enough to do what is necessary to reverse their disease. But for the large majority of persons, they are not able to. And so, I was just talking to a client a while ago that we're working with who has a family member who has cancer. And this is a family member who we told that this is something that the body can reverse in 90 days or so. And in less than 2 weeks, maybe 2 weeks, I've not been. The thing is, I've not been able to coach him as I should because I'm doing so much, and that is why the upcoming workshop that I'm having is so important. I intentionally don't want to take on a number of persons because I know my limitations. I know what I can do, what I can't do, and I know what is necessary for the success of persons' program. In order for persons to be successful in their healing, in order for us to be successful as an entity, as an institution, we need to have a new component, which is our wellness coaches, our ICM wellness coaches. We need to have that training so that we can have persons that we assign to persons to work with them. We don't have that structure yet. We're going to put that structure in place as soon as I get back from my vacation. But I do have some persons that I'm working with, and there's this one person that over the past couple of days, we have seen such tremendous results. I tell the person that, you're in a 90-day program, and we're maybe about 20 days into the program, and the person feels so much better, so much improvement, so much energy, that do you know what the person is doing? This person who now feels better has chosen to, I wouldn't say no longer, but they are hiding and they are doing things that they shouldn't be doing that is not in line with the program. So because they feel better, just imagine, just because they feel better, they are hiding, eating, and doing stuff that they shouldn't be doing because they feel better. They're showing certain behavior pattern, because sometimes it's amazing in my line of work. You know what I think I found out? That most times the person who is sick, the level of care and the level of intention that is exercised by a family member. In other words, a lot of people who are sick, here's what happened. They want to feel better most of the times, but they don't know. But the persons who are caring for them want them to become better. And so right away, there is two different expectations, two different programs. There's one, the person who is sick, who wants to feel better, And as soon as that person feels better, no longer wants to be compliant, no longer wants to be consistent with the routine. And they have to contend with the person who is caring for them, who wants them to get better, who is in it for the long haul, who wants to see the person not just feel better, but recover. In my experience, this is what happens most of the time. And so when a person is sick or when a person is not feeling well, a program of recovery cannot only be based on a program that is focused on the person's physical condition. There has to be a program that is focused on the person's mind. That is why, again, I say we normally have retreats, and I prefer retreats because in the retreat, while you're working on the body, you also have to have a program to work on the mind, because most persons' sickness is the result of their state of mind. It is the state of mind that is responsible for how they eat. It is a state of mind that is responsible for what they eat. It is a state of mind that is responsible for their drinking, for their waking. It is a state of mind. This is the seat of authority, the brain. And so once you have any program of helping anybody to reverse their disease, what is going to happen is that if you don't get here, if you don't get into here, if you don't begin to help the person here, once the person feels better, then what is going to happen is that person is going to flip and resort to the mindset that caused the physical condition in the first place. Now, how do you deal with something like this? Well, first of all, you have to have a program where you have persons that keep persons accountable, that help to keep persons consistent. So you have to have a mentoring program that is dealing with the mind of the person while you are dealing with the body, while you are dealing with the habits, while you are dealing with the poisons that cause the physical condition. So most persons who think they want to get better only want to feel better, but they don't know. And the thing is that this is a dilemma where most persons don't even know the difference. So the person who wants to feel better don't know that they only want to feel better. They don't want to get better. And the person who is caring for them don't know the difference. That one of the reasons why they're having the toggle, why they're having the challenges that they're having is because they have two expectations. There are two expectations at work. The caregiver wants the person to get better, but the person who is sick only wants to feel better. So these are two things that must be clarified. As a matter of fact, if you're a caregiver, if you're in the business of natural medicine, it's an important point that must be raised, that must be pointed out, that must be explained to a person. That you're not into the business of helping persons to feel better. You're into the business of helping persons to get better. So I want you to understand, because I'm looking at commitment, and I would even go as far as to say that if I find out that you are not compliant to our program, I'm going to perceive that you're wasting my time. If I find out that you are not going to be compliant, I'm going to believe that you are not serious about your healing, and therefore the attention I'm giving to you, I need to give that to somebody else who may be more serious, more intentional. Because at this point in my life, I'm not into wasting anybody's time, and I'm not into wasting my time. And so it's unfair to say that if you have not made that distinction and clarification for persons to understand what is necessary for healing to take place. And so it's important that persons understand it. I just want to just take a few minutes just to share that with you, because it can be very frustrating. A lot of times I see a lot of persons who come to us and they bring family members, and these family members spend a lot of money. These family members invest a lot of emotion. They invest a lot of time because they want this loved person, this loved one to feel better, to get better, not feel better, but to get better. They want this person to be healed, only to find out that they're coming up against so much resistance, especially the minute that person starts to feel better. Healing is a process. Healing is a process that includes consistent practices. You've got to be consistent. And I'm telling most persons, for most time, about 90 days, you've got to be consistent. And so I said to persons, I can understand that this has been your habit for years. This has been your habit for the last 50 or 60 years. It's not easy for persons to just get up and change. That is the reason why we put a time frame to it. We say, this is for 90 days. You're doing this for 90 days. Because our goal is not only to change the mind, but our intention is to produce a result that should in itself be convincing. This was where you were 90 days ago, and this is where you are 90 days from that. How do you feel? And not only that, but we know that once you start to eat, and once you start to drink, and once you start to practice the lifestyle that brings about healing, a part of that healing is going to be the state of your mind. And so as the habits, the craves, the desires that you have are not just coincidental. These are the results of your eating pattern. Your eating has a lot to do with your thinking. And so once your eating begins to change, once we tell persons it's 90 days, we know that we are going after a behavioral change. That's what we're going after, a behavioral change. But I want you to understand, because this is very important. So this morning, I spoke to that family member. That family member was so discouraged. And I don't want to get into it. I don't want to get into the details. This particular case that I'm doing is pro bono. I'm not charging anything. It's completely free because the person is sick. The person needs healing. The healing is simple and it can be done. I know it can be done. I know this disease can be reversed. I'm pretty sure it can be reversed. And I'm pretty sure it will be reversed if this person is consistent. And so it's very discouraging because you're investing all this time, you're investing all this energy, you're investing all of these resources because you really want to see the person get better. And for me, who is coaching them, I have expectation in terms of results within a particular time frame. Now, those time frames are going to be thrown off because this person is not being compliant or consistent to the program. It's very discouraging. In my mind, I have goals, how the person is supposed to look in 3 days, in 2 to 4 weeks. I have expectations in terms of what the person should be able to do that they couldn't do before. Everything is measurable. And so when a person is not consistent, it throws all of that through the window. And so I just want to put that out to you. And that is the reason why, as I said, that the goal is to show persons that what I'm saying is not magical, it's not mysterious. It doesn't matter what disease you have, the body heals itself. That's all I'm saying. I can't heal anybody. The body heals itself. Once you know what to do, the body heals itself. And so, as I said, that is the reason why for us to do what we do in order to target and in order to effectively bring about healing, it can't just be herbs. It can't just be supplement. There has to be a program that is geared towards altering the behavior that caused the disease in the first days. 90 days, 90 days. Whatever illness you have, whatever conditions you have, 90 days. Give the body the raw material, and in 90 days, I remember in the scriptures, the Hebrew boys when they went to Babylon, they were given the opportunity to eat from the king's table. And they said, no, we don't want to eat from the king's table. We're gonna put the Most High to a test. We want you to allow us to eat a particular way, consistently for a particular way, and we want you to evaluate us. We want you to evaluate us. And we want you to see whether we are better off than those who ate from the king's table. Why could these men put such a challenge that could ultimately mean the losing of their heads? Why? How? They could put forth the challenge because they know that once you do what you're supposed to do, there is a technology that surrounds healing. There is a technology that surrounds healing. Just like how there is a technology that determines the success of your phone, of the gadget in your house, of the car that you're driving, there is a technology that surrounds healing. And once you are exposed to that technology, and once you practice the steps within that technology, the result is going to be the same. It's going to be healing. The body heals itself. And so, as I said, I just really want to give this word out there to somebody who is feeling sick. I want you to begin to ask yourself the question. Ask yourself the question, do I want to get better? Because it's a question that you have to ask, and sometimes you may not even know. If you were to know the technology that would reverse your disease, could you be consistent for 90 days? Would you be willing to follow a series of instructions completely for 90 days if you knew that this would bring about your results. And I know the majority of you would say, yes, I would. But you are going to be so amazed, and you would be so amazed that most persons are not led by here, they are led by the body. You would be amazed to realize that once you start to feel better, the compelling desires that you have, the compelling urges that you have to go back to the habit, you are going to be so surprised how powerful those urges can be and how willing you may be to want to submit to those urges and those habits. A lot of people don't stop. A lot of persons who are in the business of health and healing and coaching and helping persons to get better, a lot of persons don't stop to make that distinction. A lot of persons who are sick don't make that distinctions. A lot of persons who feel that they want to get better cannot make the distinction between actually feeling better and becoming better, being healed, being restored, having their health having their sickness being reversed. A lot of persons want it, but they're not willing to pay the price. And a lot of time the price is giving up the habits. You would be amazed how married you are, how married we are to our habits, how intertwined we are to our habits. You would be amazed to know how intertwined we are with habits, because most of us practice these habits without even thinking. Most of us have these habits that have become so a part of us that we have never thought about not parting with them. They have become so much a part of us. But I want you to understand that the greatest disease is not cancer, is not diabetes. The greatest disease is not syphilis or HIV. The greatest disease is habit. It's the greatest disease. The greatest disease is habit. When the Most High wanted to bring the children of Israel into the promised land, he knew that to take somebody out of slavery and to bring them into the land of abundance, into the land of his will, into the land of promise, it wouldn't be possible to do it. And so what he did was that he designed between Egypt and the land of promise, he designed an experience that was called the wilderness. And the wilderness is designed to change our mind. The wilderness is designed to help us shed the habits that we acquired in the land of Egypt to prepare us for the land of promise. So the murmuring, the bickering, the constant habits that rob us of what we are and who we are. And to show you how hard it is to get rid of habit, especially for older persons. So those children who want to see their mothers, who want to see their fathers being healed, who want to see their parents being healed, I pray for you. Because it's very hard to change a person who is set in their ways. And so the scripture tells us that of all of those millions of people who left the land of Egypt, only Joshua and Caleb entered the land of promise. Everybody else died in the wilderness, died in the situation that should have changed their mind. Their mind was so bent, their habit was so formed and forged. They were so married to their habit that just the change that was necessary, the change of mind that was necessary for them to enter the promised land, they died. Habit is very powerful. Habit is very powerful. And so the children of Israel, they would normally always talk about their garlics and their and the food that they used to eat in Egypt, and all of those things that they used to cherish and relish in Egypt. And because of that, just a change of mind. So the Most High had no problem in delivering the children of Israel. He had no problem in delivering the children of Israel from Egypt. It was the easiest thing to do. Receiving your healing is super easy. His greatest challenge, yet the Creator's greatest challenge, was getting the people to change their mind. Your healing is simple. I can walk you through the steps of the technology of healing. But the habit that is required to sustain those steps, that is where the challenge is going to be. The habits. The habit of giving up sugar. It's a powerful addictive component. The habit of giving up sugar, the habit of giving up meat. Some persons will tell us on the spot, I can't do without it. Can't give it up. They're not telling you, but by their action, I'd rather to die with this condition. And so there are a few, like the Caleb and the Joshua, who are willing to make that change. There are few persons. So most persons who we see don't want to get better. They don't want to, but they don't know. They just want to feel better. So I want to encourage you today, because I want you to stop and I want you to think about what I'm saying. Hear what this man is saying. Do I want to get better? Do I want to get better? Or do I want to feel better? Do I want to get better, or do I want to feel better? You know, if you're watching this video, I'll be having a workshop on the 23rd to the 31st of January, where I'm going to be sharing this technology with persons, because for our program to work, we need coaches. So we want to teach some persons, and not just to teach persons, we want to show persons how to experience healing, because you can't coach somebody into something that you haven't experienced yourself. You can't coach somebody. You can't tell somebody. You can't know what a person is experiencing if you haven't gone through that experience yourself. And so I'm expecting persons who are having health conditions, who are going to be in that session, to walk out as living testimonies of the results of healing. You see, once you start to be a benefactor, once you start to experience healing, it gets you excited. It's not about, it's like the woman at the well. You want to run, you want to tell persons, hey, it works. I was going through these challenges. I was having these issues, and they're gone. They're totally gone. This is what you need to do. 1, 2, 3. I know how you feel. I know what you're going through, because I went through it myself. I went through the program myself, and I'm telling you, I no longer have the conditions that I used to have. I used to be a citizen of the nation of the sick. And praise Yah, I have given up my residency. I have given up my backache, my footache, my belly ache, my headache. I've given up my mental fog. I've given up my hormonal imbalance. I've given up my infertility. I've given up my impotency. I've given up all of this. And I've left the land of the sick, the nation of the sick, and I'm now a part of the nation of the healthy, and I'm now an ambassador. So we're really looking for ambassadors, persons who have experienced healing, who are willing to want to share healing with somebody else. You want to first of all experience it. You want to first of all experience a change of mind. And you know, once you begin to have that experience for yourself, when you begin to talk to persons, it's not about trying to convince anybody, because you know what you know. You know that you experience healing, and you know that you've been a benefactor. We have a few slots left. As I said, I know that there are persons who are reaching out. We have a few slots left. I'm super excited. I can't wait till my vacation is over to get back to doing what I love to do, what I enjoy to do, which is to help persons to heal, help persons to get better. You're a part of our clinic. I'm telling you, our protocols have completely changed. We have completely changed our protocols. Whatever results you got, it's going to be now tenfold. I'm willing and I'm excited about sharing this, because I have seen the power of healing. I've seen the power of the body. I have a better understanding and appreciation of the scripture that says we are fearfully and wonderfully made. It is not just word on paper, my friends. It is a powerful statement. You have been fearfully and wonderfully made. That earth suit that you have is like the plants. You know, if you go outside and if you break a plant, it just heals itself. You've seen those trees that were battered by the recent hurricane. They've already started the healing process. When you look on them, they were so dry, they look so damaged, they look so diseased. But as the rain began to fall, as they began to get the natural raw material that they needed, they went about doing what they do naturally. They began to heal. This is not just true of plants. This is also true of animals. This is also true of you. Your body was a body that was fearfully and wonderfully made. Inside your body was placed technology that allowed your body to heal itself. Your body is an amazing healing machine. It's not complex, it's not difficult, it's not technical. As long as you know what to give the body, naturally, almost immediately, the body goes to work and the body goes to heal itself. If you are not healing, you have to understand there is something wrong with your healing mechanism. The technology, there's something that is wrong with your healing mechanism. Once you give the body raw material that it needs, it goes about to do what it does very good. It heals itself. I want to hope that I inspired somebody, and I want to hope that I encourage somebody. I know what it is like to be sick. I've been sick before. I know what it's like to be in ache and pain, to be confused mentally, physically, and otherwise. I know what it's like to be broke and sick. I know what it is like, and I know what it is like to receive healing. You've got to choose. You have got to choose what you want. You have got to choose what you want. You want to think about it. I know some of you are saying, I want to, Dr. Ben, I want to be healed. I want to see my loved one being healed. That's what you want, but is that what they want? It's a question. That's what you want. It's not what you want. It's what they want. Are they going to be compliant? Because most time you begin to tell persons what they need to do, it's a problem. You start to come against a problem. People just want to feel better. We're in a society that facilitates that. Healing is a process. We're in a society where everything is immediate. People want immediate results. People want immediate gratifications. People want immediate. We're in a microwave society. But guess what? Your sickness is a process. It didn't just happen naturally. And you know, while I'm saying this, I know people are going to try to reach out to me. I can't help everybody. That's the reason why we want to train persons. I can't. It's impossible for me. Because healing is a process and sometimes requires accountability. I need people to help persons. I'm limited. So the more persons I help to experience healing and teach them how to do it. So if I help 10 in the next couple of days, and that 10 can help 10 each, that's 10, 100, that's 100 people. And if those 100 people who get help learn to do the same thing, then the process is being duplicated and we're going to see people just starting to receive their healing. Healing is a process. Healing is a children's bread, not more. And the worst, the absolute, I'm going to close with this now. The absolutely worst thing because it's really a contradiction, is to be a child of the Most High and be sick. It's a contradiction. Yeah, you boast and I'm a child of the Most High. I'm a believer, and you're sick. And I'm not saying this for you to feel bad. I'm not trying to put anybody down or to let anybody feel down, because the truth is, I'm not trying to question your status or your relationship with the Most High. I'm not doing that, because it is possible to be sick and be a child of the Most High. It is possible to be broke and be a child of the Most High. It's just that you've learned how, you've made the decision to become a child, but you don't have the information as to how to address these conditions that you're experiencing. So I'm not trying to challenge anybody's, to get anybody to question their standing with the Most High or their position with the Most High. I'm not trying to do that. But it still doesn't take away from the fact that it looks contradictory for you to be saying that I'm a believer, I serve the Most High, but yet you're on prescription medication, or you're on drugs, or you're on this, like the other person who is not a believer. It really comes across as a contradiction. In other words, if I'm not saved, it's really a poor way to get my attention that I need to be following your God. I'm not following a God. I'm broke, I'm sick, I'm disgusted. But you are following God, and you're broke, and you're sick, and you're disgusted, just like me. It's not really a good example, and it's not a good testimony. And so what I want to do is to change it. I want to see people who are saved and sanctified. I want to see people who are believers, who are not just testimonies in word, but testimony in lifestyle, testimony in results, where people can see and say, hey, I used to be on the same medication that you're on. We used to see the same oncologist. We used to see the same physician. Why is it that I'm not seeing you anymore? And you can say, first of all, to Yah be the glory, because it is to him that all praises belong to. Because he's the one that made the body. No herbs heal us, no supplement heals us. It is a body that heals itself, and this body that does an amazing job was made by the Creator. So you can testify, to Yah be the glory. I once was blind, but now I can see. I once was sick, but no, I'm no longer sick. I once was on painkillers, but I'm no longer on painkiller. And this is in no way to knock any one of these painkiller or prescription drugs, because I'm one of those persons who are saying that it has its place. It has its place. Most people need to understand that I'm not trying to knock prescription drugs. I'm not trying to. I know better than that. Because this is the only help that some people know. This is the only help that you know. How can you curse what's been helping you? But what I want to say is that it isn't the Creator's will, first of all, for you to be sick. And it is not his intention for you to be taking anything that is unnatural to sustain you. He has given us, he tells us what he has given us. He has given us herbs for the healing of the nation. He tells us what he has given us. So this morning, I want to just go to 40 minutes. I feel like I'm getting through to somebody. I feel like I'm talking to somebody. I want you to understand that healing is your birthright. Sickness is not of the Most High. Healing is your birthright. And another thing is that prayer has its place, but because causes the curse will not come. But a lot of people who are praying are not praying the way they should be praying. A lot of persons who are at the altar should leave that space for persons whose condition is of a spiritual nature. A lot of you are sick because of a physical cause, and it can be reversed. It can be reversed. The body heals itself. So I want to just encourage somebody this morning. That healing is your birthright. Healing is the children's bread. You deserve to be healed. You just need the knowledge. You just need to know how. You just need to understand the technology of healing. And once you understand the technology of healing, guess what? The body is just going to do what it does naturally. The body is going to heal itself. I want you to go to my website, icmwellnessmarketplace.com. If you're interested in our upcoming workshop, if you're our masterclass workshop, icmwellnessmarketplace.net, and I want you to search for just type in the search masterclass, and I want you to register to be a part of our masterclass. I want to see you being healed. I want you to experience healing. And then I want you to be an evangelist. I want you to be an ambassador to begin to share that message with somebody. This is Dr. Ben. See you. Bye-bye.